our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters counsel is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
The Nigerian Police Force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters counsel is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Legally Speaking on Planet Radio 101.1 FM and Spectrum TV at Star Times and Free to Air TV. My name is Anthony Ebuka, and I'm Law Partners and Associates. Today in court, we had an incident where a man was said to have raped a 4-year-old child, and it brought a lot of questions to my mind. What's really happening in Nigeria? Why are children being exposed and abused the way they are? And we thought today we should discuss on family court law in Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria as a whole. A lot of misconceptions have gone around about what a family court is, and people don't really take advantage of the family court system in Nigeria. But I will also tell you that as it is, the family court is almost overflooded with cases because we have several courts that handle family issues, and the education and awareness is growing. Okay, how we been in the studio today to discuss these issues and others. I'll start with Hannah, a sent to my very far left. Hannah is a teacher and a social commentator. Hannah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I also have with me Tini Basi. Tini is a legal practitioner with Law Partners and Associates. And you're welcome to the show, Tini.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I want to go straight to Hannah, who is not a lawyer, and I'm sure she's not done family court matters yet. Let's have a perspective of your understanding of, candid understanding of family court when you hear people say matters are heard at the family court. What normally comes to your mind?
Well, I do have an idea that in family courts, that's where custody of children is determined, and also, most importantly, if a father, because I think it's mostly a father, the father is not taking care of the kids, that's where the father is taken, dragged to for the court to order him to be making monthly payments for maintenance of
I am sure you know that a lot of people who are fathers will disagree with you that fathers take care of children. I think I can agree with fathers, they take care of children.
Disagreeing doesn't change the fact that because it's a well-known fact. In fact, a lot of fathers think that when you cast away a mother and the children she had, you don't have any business with those children. You move ahead and start afresh.
And
with
it's not
another woman and other children, and you hear fathers threatening the woman. If you leave, let's see how you will manage with 2 children, 3 children. Meaning, I'm not going to support you. So, these kind of fathers are taken to family court where the court orders them to pay maintenance for the children. Then I do not know if it applies to in Nigeria, because I do watch law court programs on TV, like divorce court, where you hear mothers talk about paying child support. I don't know if in Nigeria, and of a father who wasn't married to a mother is also made to pay maintenance down here. So that's what he tells. But I do know that that's what I know about family court.
Okay.
Custody and order for payment for maintenance of children.
All right. So, let's come to you. Family court.
Yes, family courts are special courts that are set up to protect the interest of the child. They basically deal with every issue that has to do with the child, the welfare of the child, and all of that. Now, in a family court, the interest of the child is the most paramount thing. It's not even about the parents, it's basically the child. That's what the family court is set up for. And mostly it's the high courts in Nigeria and the magistrate courts that have the jurisdiction to entertain family court matters.
All right. Okay, I think I want to add that at the onset of the Child Rights Act of 2003, the courts, which also became child rights law of several states, that adopted and modified the acts to suit their various states. One of the prominent features of that law was the creation of the family court system. Now, from the word family, it's not about divorce and family issues. It's basically about children, minors who have rights to be protected. The family court emphasizes children. But unfortunately, when we go to this court, you find parents trying to narrate their divorce experience and the crisis in their relationship, hoping to have the court maybe win the sympathy of the court. Sometimes also the court is railroad into wanting to resolve the marital crisis of the family with the hope that maybe to assist the children the more. But largely it doesn't. Okay, so as a feature, I had earlier talked about this case where a child has been raped. The matter was going to the magistrate court for arraignment, and I'm sure eventually it will be transferred to the family court for prosecution because of the stigma and the identity of the child. That child cannot testify in open court. It will definitely be in a family court if their parents so wish. Alright, the family court is a court that has an unlimited jurisdiction. The family court has an unlimited jurisdiction, which means that you have all manner of issues bothering the children, which could be ventilated in the high court by adults. Children have the rights to ventilate these issues at the family court. So if a child has been molested, raped, abused, the place to go is the family court. The family court is not a place where you go for divorce or settlement of marriages and so on. No. It is strictly where children's welfare are discussed and catered for. So Hannah, you had asked a question. You You remember the question?
Now that you've said that family court is a place for the case of that child that has been raped is going to be transferred from high court to
The magistrate court. Upon
court
arraignment, yes.
I am just thinking now. You say it's a place where a child can err. I know of we've heard stories. I work in a school. I've heard children talk about being living with somebody, maybe an uncle or as a help, and they are being assaulted. They are being sexually
abused.
So what you're saying is such a child can walk into a family court and report. Is it that court serves as a place where the child can come in to report that this has happened to me?
Actually,
Would the child not need to, because I understand a court is a place where you go to, there has to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt before somebody is said to have committed the offense. Now this child, this minor, says this is what is happening to me, and the madam, because we hear a lot of it, even mothers do that to their own biological children. A mother has a daughter, goes to marry somebody else who's not the child's father, and the child complains that this man is molesting me, and the mother says don't say that kind of a thing again. So from what you're saying, that child can go to court by himself.
Yes,
yes, because that is a child. Now, if a child is bold enough to walk into a court, it's actually part of the laws under the family court. A child can walk into a court, any court of law at all. Law trees are complaint because there are always people around in court, whether the court is sitting or not. You still go there and meet people, clerks of court. Yes, you lodge your complaint to them, tell them whatever has happened, and they're in the right position to refer a particular matter to the judge. When the judge hears the matter, whether the child has a lawyer or not, the judge is inclined to hear the child. And in some instances, the judge will now appoint lawyers from the legal aid or from Ministry of Justice, yes, to take up and defend the child in court.
So I'm imagining this child now, because I'm still remembering those 1 to 3 kids I saw in school walk to a court. Assuming a child is in one village in Itu. How will that child find her way to a court to go and complain?
All right.
Now the child goes there. Your auntie that you're living with had already threatened fire and brimstone, and you go to court. What would the court do for that child?
Okay.
They'll summon the person to come, and then, because we have provision for placing that child in a home, if that home is no longer where that child can go back to.
That's exactly the answer to the question you've asked. Usually the court is empowered to hear and protect the interests of that child. Every court. Now, beyond transferring a matter to a family court where there is no family court, but every jurisdiction now has a family court. The heads of those courts double as family court judges. Every jurisdiction in Akwa Ibom. The magistrate courts, the heads of the magistrate courts in that jurisdiction also sits as a family court. They have their days of sitting as family court. However, where these complaints come and it's not on the day of the hearing, they are empowered to sit in chambers, hear, make orders for the maintenance of that child, emergency orders to protect that child. One of such orders could be to invite or summon, issue a warrant of arrest to any party who is found, who the child alleges is culpable.
Okay.
Bring them before the court, and the court will determine immediately how that child can be rescued.
You know, what she's asking is, what will happen if the child walks into a court, and then in the house, so many different things are waiting for that child.
Exactly.
When she comes
Yeah,
back.
that's where I'm going to. The law provides that that child be taken out of that house and given coverage in the government facility. So that child, for one, will no longer be allowed to go back there. The second thing that can happen, that will happen, is that the parents or the guardian or whoever is responsible for the abuse of that child will be prosecuted to the letter. So it's not just the extraction of the child from the abusive family, but that there will be a follow-up to ensure that whoever is culpable of abusing that child is brought to book.
Okay, now this bringing to book, what kind of punishment is made? Because I'm thinking, we have talked about bringing whoever is culpable. The person that's culpable has other children. Maybe they are biological children they're not abusing. So you bring them, what punishment is, because I understand there's always a criminal code has a range of punishment, 2 years for this kind of crime. Because what I'm saying this is, I've heard you say a number of times that even when matters of like police domestic violence against husband and wife are taken to the police station, the police will say, who will, if you make this man to be arrested and jailed, who will provide for the children? So don't, so that he'll continue to stay and win bread for the family. So I'm thinking now, because the way you're saying it, it makes it sound as if the law has provided, and I'm interested in knowing to what extent it can work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, yeah.
Now, if I could share some experiences, because they are life experiences. One of them was a neighbor who raped a 4-year-old girl in Esrekit. The matter was brought before the High Courts of Ekiti.
Okay.
Then Honorable Justice Teresa Abbott was sitting. She sentenced the man to 40 years imprisonment. 40.
Okay.
Now, others could be caused as uncles, but as long as those matters come, I'm sure usually the court is always almost 50% pro protection of that child.
But 40 years, was it for one particular crime, or was it more than one particular offense I was charged with?
No, I think it was just one.
Because the law I've seen of child abuse is like 14 years.
Yes, in some jurisdiction. In some jurisdiction, it's a life imprisonment.
Okay.
Recall the pastor that was said to have raped defilement of a minor that is not just a regular minor, a child.
Okay, very small.
It should be taken more seriously. When you rape a 4-year-old child, it should be taken more seriously than even an adult who has had sexual experiences. This one has not even formed, does not even understand what you're doing. An adult already understands. So the offense against that child should be taken more seriously, which is why the court is empowered to take the liberty.
Discretion.
Yes, and the discretion must be exercised largely in favor of that child. So when the child grows up.
So on a lighter note, I'm just being mischievous here. If I, as the court, feel like this offense is so grievous, this man should be emasculated.
Emasculation is only in the Bible. We are not in Bible times. All right, that was on a lighter note. So usually, without saying that, okay, it's a win-win situation for children that go to court, we've had situations where people, well, I know that I was involved in a matter where a father abused the daughter.
Yes, it happens.
And when this matter was reported to the police, we equally got to the police station. And the DPO called me to say, do you know? The DPO called to ask me if I know this woman that is seated here. I said, I don't know her. He said, that's the wife to that man that abused that 11-year-old girl. And the wife and the 11-year-old girl are here crying that I should release their father.
That's always the hindrance in prosecuting.
And then he asks, what do you expect me to do? should I also arrest them as accomplices? But even if I do, how will I prosecute? Because somebody has to come out to say, I am the wife. I had seen him do it.
So what about the child herself that was
The
raped?
child is begging you.
The child is begging. A child can be told what to do. Okay, who reported in the first place?
Now, the only family that child knows is that father and that mother. So how do you compare a child that is going back with the mother? It's almost impossible.
That
It's
child
not
will not,
impossible.
no, that child will not want to testify in court that this is actually happened. The mom will not want to testify.
Okay, who
frustrating
reported to the police in the first
prostitution.
place?
The community, because it's been happening over time. You see, a lot of things happen spontaneously. The police gets involved, and the prosecution, it appears, okay, we're going to have a prosecution on this. Unfortunately, right when you are thinking of prosecuting, the child sub-assault. He didn't touch me, oh. He didn't rape me, he didn't give me food. That's why I was angry with him.
But there's a way to check. This is a child. We can't give that kind of excuse over a child that can easily be influenced to change what can be bullied to say something else.
So the court does not follow such testimonies. A child that can easily change his testimony could also be easily made to lie. So the court usually relies on proof beyond reasonable doubt for conviction. If you're going to convict a man for 40 years, then there must be solid evidence.
And where would the evidence come from? Is it not checking that child?
No, there's what we call tests before a child can give. The court will test that child. If whatever he's going to say will be a lie, whatever he's going to say will be true.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll open the phone lines now, right? We can go on a short break. When we come back, we open the phone lines and allow listeners to call in and participate in the conversation. The short break records.
Which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for
The Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back to Legally Speaking. I'm still Anthony Ebuka. I'm with Hannah Essien and Etini Basi Esquire. All right, and we've been talking about family courts in Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State in particular. Everybody keeps asking what happens at the family court. I've had people consult me to say, let's file a divorce at the family court. And I wonder where they got that information from. By the way, the phone lines are open, so you can call in to make contributions or ask questions where you are in doubt. So a lot of people call to ask that question. Let's file an action. Let's file a divorce at the family court. Let's ask the court to make awards to us for the children we put to bed. The numbers to call are 081 762 48565. The alternative number to call is 070 454 17707. I repeat that number, 081 762 48565. The alternative number to call is 070 454 17707. All right, so a lot of people call to ask that question. They want you to file an action at the family court because they're having issues with the husband and they want a divorce. They have that impression that it's at the family court that matters are resolved, divorce matters are resolved.
You can't blame somebody who has not had experience. I mean, when you hear the name family, you're bringing a family matter there.
Yeah, even land matters.
You think that it's about matters that are in the family. So when you have issues in your family, you go to the family court. That's why they asked you. That's why it's your place to tell them, no, you're not going there. You're going somewhere else.
So yeah, usually I would sit with them and explain to them that they are not family matters. You see people that are 25, 20. You see that in Nigeria, a lot of people don't understand the age limits of youthfulness. So they believe since I'm the my father's child.
My father should take care of me forever.
So at 24, 25, they still want to go to family court where they hear that it's about the properties of maintenance and so on. And it's difficult to tell them that whereas your father ordinarily takes care of you till you're 60, some takes care of your children. I've seen parents that do that. They take care of their children to the extent of taking care of their children's children, pay school fees for them, and the guys just roll around.
But the law is not interested.
They are busy identifying themselves as contractors. You know, they say I do contracts, and they don't have contracts. They perform. So the parents now send their grandchildren to school. Such people will now want to go to court because they feel it's a family thing. My father wants to sell the only property he has. Because some parents really get fed up upon retirement and they want to relocate. And they struggle their father's property with them. They say, my children will struggle my own property. Me and my father have a right to. So, I guess what we're trying to say is this. Family court is about children's rights. Strictly children's rights. There's no business with whether or not you are your father's son. Your father's child, because
we say children. I am a child to my father, even if I'm 100.
All right.
So some people think because I am somebody's child
that you have a right to the family court.
So
the family court tries to listen to people under the ages of 18. Then once you hit 18, the family court loses jurisdiction over matters pertaining to you.
Okay.
So what am I saying? You can file a matter at the family court at age 16. Then progressively, once the matter is pending there, you become 18. The day you become 18, that's the end of the family court hearing your matter. They can't even make any order that binds you. Right? So
So that's all the more reason why matters there should be heard
Expeditiously.
very quickly.
Okay.
It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, let's have your own experience.
No, it's part of the experiences we meet in court too. Because I've seen one family matter drag for like 3-4 years. Yes, which shouldn't be so. I've seen one family. There are so many family matters that goes on. Some of them are still in court even now, like from 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So that's a kind of loophole. And then family court isn't supposed to is generally they are not courts that are strict on their rules. They are courts that relaxes rules. Yes, such a way that what you see in the normal high courts, all those motions brought to do this, brought to do that at the high court, you don't have all of that at the
It's
family
not required
court.
at the family
Yes, most
court.
of them are not required at the family court because they've actually brought down to a kind of settlement level. You don't just fly motions around or things like that around.
Okay.
Yes. So they have to sit down with the children, sit down with the family, and then talk about whatever is happening. And so that kind of drags the matter. And then, for example, if the matter has gone on for a long time, you cannot just apply for judgment to be given if the other party is unwilling, or if the other party doesn't want to attend court, or if nothing is happening with the other party. The court has to still give them room because it's based on the interest of the child. Has to still give them room for appearance and defense and all of that. They can't just enter judgment.
So that brings us back to what when you had started, you said the child walks into court and the court orders the accused to come to court. Now I've heard you say something like the other party doesn't come, can't be forced to come, so the case sits there.
Well, okay. Let me explain what she actually wants you to understand, or wants the audience to understand. The family court is empowered to compel attendance. Upon the attendance, the family court tries to mediate. The family court has the strength to bite immediately without any protocol. I've seen a man sentenced immediately to custody because he argued over the maintenance of the child. The court said, "You will do this." He said, "I will not do that." He called me an order, and he was moved into custody until the next adjourned, which was about a month apart.
Okay.
And when he came out of that custody, he was very, very humble and very accommodating and understanding. So I think that's what he needed.
Okay.
But now, at the family court level, they are not looking at expeditious settlement of matters. In fact, family court cases don't close. You just resolve, have resolutions, okay, we'll do this, and the court monitors for a while, takes the matter off the custodies. Because those kids are still children, and they'll be expected to restart that matter as soon as you fail on any of the orders the court has made. We have been consistently defaulting on it. The court can order that you be locked up in custody until you are purged of the contempt of court.
Okay.
So the family court matters are not supposed to be expeditiously handled. But on the first day you enter the court, the law expects that the court will make emergency orders. 1, upkeep. 2, health care, education. This is what you are going to do in the meantime, whilst the matter is pending to determine how you want to take care of these children. Hannah had also talked about the fact that men are said not to be taking care of their children, and I think she wanted to know how the child will compel his guardian or parents to take care of him. Now, if a child wanders into the court and says, "I have a father who has the capacity to take care of me, but I've not eaten for 2 days," the judge first will provide food for that child. Then the judge will make an order immediately that the police will arrest and bring that man to court summarily, without waiting to type the order of court and fix a date for hearing. No. the court can hear that child right there on the road.
On the road?
On the road.
Which road?
Wherever the child meets the judge.
Oh, okay, you're talking about a judge now. The child meets a judge.
A family court judge.
There
has to be a family court judge.
No, it can be any court that can recommend.
But now the court close with the authority to do that is a family court. So he can make orders even without sitting with his assessors. Every family court sits with assessors. Assessors are supposed to have maybe from the child welfare departments or the ministries of social welfare or women affairs, and psychologists, people in the like fields who have experiences in management of children and parents that have gone berserk. So these people assist to observe the demeanor of the child, the actions and reactions of the parents of either party. Then they advise the court on how best decisions could be taken. Because the court can make an order, and by next adjourned date, a lot of things have gone sour. So sometimes the court will cajole the families and run them for a while for tempers to cool before making formal and proper demands on each party. You will do this. You will do this. So the court is empowered to be very liberal in his approach to family court management. So yes.
Now you had said that the family court is basically to do what? Uphold the child's act.
Yes, interest of the child.
That the provisions of the Child Act.
Child Rights Act.
Child Rights
or
Act.
Child Rights Law of the state.
Is a family court that deals with
that promotes that.
Promotes it. Okay. So I'm thinking now of it because I heard you talk about upkeep, which means we are talking about a direct parent or somebody's on there.
Hello. Okay. Maybe we've lost that call. So if you try to call in, the numbers to call is on the screen for those of us watching on TV, and for those of us that are listening to us on radio, the numbers are 081 762 48565. I repeat that number, 081 762 48565. The alternative number to call will be 070 541 7707. So I repeat that number. I think there was a mistake on that number. 070 4541 7707. Yes, Hannah?
Yes, like you were talking about upkeep that the court will order, and I'm imagining that that's talking about the biological father to the child. And what's coming to my mind now, I'm having a picture of maybe an orphaned relative who is living with a relative and is being maltreated in that home. What can that child do? That child is there, you're fed once in 2 days, and what are you telling me that the child can walk into court and say, these people give me food once in 3 days, so that the court will order, you'll be coming to check if you give this child food 3 times a day?
Okay, what the court will want to do is establish that relationship. How did you come to stay in the house? If it was a house boy, house girl relationship, NAPTI would call it slavery, child labor.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to employ a child.
Oh.
So unless you are able to explain that it's a family relation that you're trying to assist, then the family court will ask you as a parent or guardian, how are you caring for the child? Are you caring for the child from an abusive point of view? In which case the child rights law be activated against you.
Yeah, what will be activated against you? What will be done to
abuse?
They remove the child from you, or they order you to come and be checking that you're now taking
No.
proper care of the child?
Now, there's a social welfare department every Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. If these cases are reported to that welfare department, a lot of times they do follow-ups. They come to the house to ensure that you are taking care of that child is going to school. And the assessment of you will include even up to what you do for a living. So if you have the capacity to take care of this child, and you are deliberately avoiding to take care of the child, they owe that child a duty to take him or her out of that child for foster parenthood.
Okay, so at the end of the day, there's the option of removing the child
Of
from
course,
the...
of course.
God will not force you to do what you don't want to do
Of
for
course,
the child.
of course. Unless the court has decided, having regards to the capacity you have to care for the child, that you've consistently refused to care for that child despite that capacity, then the court can order that you be arrested
And what?
locked up until you are ready to do what you have to
And
do.
your other children that you were taking care of and ignoring this particular child.
But what about parents are actually alive, parents of these children are actually alive, but they don't have the mental capacity or the financial capacity to take care of these children?
Financial capacity, that's your child.
It's relative, yeah.
That's your child. I think the child will be returned to the parents. What will they go to? You didn't adopt, this person didn't adopt this child officially now. Because when you adopt a child, that child becomes your own child. That's the position of adoption. When a child is adopted, even if the parents are alive, the adoptive parent now becomes the parent of that child.
I'm talking in terms of foster parenting.
Okay.
Yes, where the parents are unable to take care of that child, it's obvious the parents are unable to take care of that child mentally, financially, or otherwise.
What do you mean by mentally? The parents are both mad.
No, one person could be mad.
One person is mad, but the other is dead now.
He'll
The
be
other person
sick
could be sick or
and
dead.
incapacitated
Uh-huh.
or bankrupt.
The dead person is gone. We are not talking about the dead person here. We are talking about financially unable to. When you're financially unable to, is that a ground for you to pass your child to someone else and the person is not taking care of that child? What would the court say?
Okay, that could dovetail into a very big space of discussion called adoption, foster care, guardianship, and the rest of them. So we have to find a way to avoid going into that sea.
Okay.
So we can swim out very quickly if we want to. But all the same, generally a lot of people, there are a lot of people on queue at the adoption agencies and ministries of state ministries of women affairs and social welfare departments looking for children they can adopt. Okay. Now, if
when you say looking for children they can adopt, I know that people don't like adopting older children. They want to go for babies. So
well, maybe people that
your
are around
older
you.
11, 12-year-old won't be so popular.
You're right. The 11-year-olds are not the best people to adopt. Okay. Because they're actually teenagers. And
11 years is not a teenager.
They're almost there.
Almost there is
Yes.
different from,
Yeah.
even a 13-year-old is different from a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but usually people think that if you're adopting a child, the child should grow with you and not just come to see you as an auntie and you are forcing the child to say mommy. He said, no, I don't know you as mommy.
No, it depends on circumstances.
No.
Your child could be adopted.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying so. We're talking
you're
about.
not
we're talking about.
forcing.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're talking about how popular it is.
This is an orphan who's looking. 14-year-olds look for parents. They stay in orphanages and hunger for family where they will call somebody mom and dad. What I'm trying to say is that the people looking for that age to adopt are fewer, and we didn't want to go into adoption, so let's come back.
Yes.
But since we're talking about the family court and how it promotes Child Rights Act, I'm now looking at because you mentioned something. You said concerning the one that's not your child, not a relative you brought in to work for you,
Okay.
and you're saying the law does not accept that it's not
NAPTI
lawful
would say,
to do that.
NAPTI
And now
will tell
you
a
brought in
child
this
abuse.
child and you're now making this child unhappy in your house by maltreating the child, so that the child now, if the child is aware, now goes to court. If that child has living parents and goes to court to say, my parents sent me to this person and the person is abusing me, please give me an idea of what the court would do in line with the Child Rights Act.
Well, I think the Child Rights Law and Act also forbid child labor. So if a child is staying under a paid employment, it's counted as child trafficking.
And the payment sometimes goes to the parents.
Especially that the parents, the child doesn't even take the remuneration. So you are
who
sending.
will be arrested?
All of them are involved. Oh.
Are you sure all of them will be arrested?
Yes.
What will happen to
Because
them?
it's child labor. You sit somewhere, send a child to an abusive environment and get paid for the child to suffer, wash plates by 3 a.m., clean pool by 4 p.m., and you are receiving some allowances on his or her head. So basically, there are remedies.
So I'm interested in this child. You say the child will come into court, assuming that child in one, maybe the child is in Itinan.
Okay.
And
walks into family court in
the child
Itinan.
somehow now knows that he can go to court and complain. So the child walks into family court in Itinan. Family court, by the way, do we have family courts in all the local government areas? Okay. This child is not in Itinan town where the court is. This child is in one court somewhere. Although hardly do children get sent to courts to help people. It's always in a town setting. So the child walks into family court in Itinan and meets who? You said any of the workers there meets them and says, my parents sent me to go and live with this person.
They will take a complaint form.
I've been whipped.
Yes.
And this.
They can pull out a complaint form and write a complaint on the child's behalf, submit it to court, and cause the court to sit almost immediately to hear that child.
The court is hearing the child.
Yes.
The person the child is accusing has not been someone. Because I heard you say you said it's a discussion. The family court is mostly discussion. So I want to hear what would happen, what kind of discussion would take place here.
Okay, now if the family comes in and they are seated with the child, the court will tell the other party, which is the respondent now, that the applicant has made 1, 2, 3 allegations against you. How do you know the applicants? What's your relationship? And how have you been treated? Can you respond to this allegation? If the person responds and the responses are not convenient or comfortable with the court can make an order there and then to withdraw that child from that family, pending the hearing and determination of the complaint that has been brought against the person. So,
pending the hearing and determination, which you say takes forever.
Yes, or there are interim orders. Those interim orders could be everything the child wants for the time.
Okay.
Feeding, accommodation, medical bills.
So meaning the child will be sent to an orphanage, maybe a government-run orphanage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've had situations where the court also sends a child not to government-run orphanages, but other NGOs and charity homes.
Okay.
That can provide such facilities and most conveniently than the government. So I've seen it done.
Okay.
So I think generally we have discussed much on how the family court works, but we've not looked at the proper workings, the realities in the family court. One of the realities you find in the family court is that the men come in feeling like they must respond. They must win the child over with respect to custody. The custodial system.
Okay.
If it has been, like the early question you asked, it's not necessarily about a father, a biological father and mother who have married. If you had a girlfriend, you got her pregnant and you moved on, the girl has a right to go to court and say, this is the father of this child, he has refused to take care of the child.
Okay.
Most of the parents of these children come in and tell a whole lot of lies.
Yes.
For example, on how much they are earning in order to take care of the children. No, they'll come in and lie.
Yeah,
They'll lie below, they'll reduce their salary below level.
Yeah, but
fine, they're lying, but I'm
of time-
interested in that
Yes.
boyfriend thing, so
Yeah.
that people out there will know.
Yeah.
If you have a child, that
yes.
because you may not.
In Nigeria,
Don't
worry.
If you have a
Because of
child that
time-
doesn't need DNA, the child looks like the
Yes.
father completely.
Yeah.
Put to
But
court.
because of time, if a child goes to court and requires DNA test, the court can order DNA test. The court orders a lot of DNA tests. We've seen a lot of DNA tests that come out and the father's eyes completed and they walk away. So go to court, make those complaints. Fathers demand for DNA testing if you are not sure of your child, because the court will expect you to take care of your child, not some other person's child. And when you do that, I think everybody. So that should be all for Legally Speaking. I've been with Hannah Esen and Nitin Ibasi. My name is Anthony Ebu. Until same time next week, I believe everything you do from now till then will be legal.
Which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our
Is
matters.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.